chain of karma which condition a citta to arise and experience an object until it experiences object through the sense thought, mind. Otherwise, it's just like that. It's just like moment it just fall asleep instantly. Nothing to be known. Next life, the beginning of new life. No thought about previous life or last life at all. Just like now. No time to fear. It's there by condition. Anytime. And it's just like this moment. Nothing is left. What is that gone? So even that moment before death, gone, and then there is death, unknown moment, and then next life, unknown. But life begins again and again, just like now. Just like seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, different objects, like yesterday and today. But no understanding that moment until hearing about the truth of it, understanding of each moment of its condition. Just like there's no fear for our that's no fear whether it's at that moment. Okay? Unknown moment already there. The next life begins. We say it's new life, new world, like now. Can each moment be new world, different objects? So what?
Jan, your sound quality is not very clear and there's a bit of background interference. So I think we're finding it a little bit difficult to follow. And perhaps, Peter, you can help her, Jan.
ว่าไงครับคุณคำปั่นเสียงใช้ไม่ได้ค่ะมีเสียงก๊อบแก๊บ Is it better now?
Well, the background interference has gone, but there's still quite a bit of echo with your voice. I think my own voice has echoed too. Now we're hearing the background noise again. Kun Peter, are you there?
Can you close?
I think we can talk. But I think everyone's voice has an echo at the moment. And I imagine it's to do with the host setting at the foundation. Is there any way we can contact them, Peter? By phone, perhaps?
ได้เลยค่ะมีใคร
We're sorry. Thank you.
Are you there, Kun Peter? I thought I heard his voice a minute ago. Betty, any chance you can call the foundation from where you are and try to get any chance you can call the foundation?
Echo all the time. Plus a sound like a bell ring, a doorbell.
Yeah, can you use your phone to call the foundation and
Sure.
try and speak to Peter?
Okay.
Tell him there's a problem.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear.
We can hear you, Ajahn.
Yes, I can hear.
But there's an echo, so it's a bit disturbing. So we're trying to fix it with the staff at the foundation.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you ครับท่านอาจารย์ครับ
นี่ได้ยินที่มันเสียงไม่ชัดนะก็แก๊ก
Now there is no echo, just normal voice. I think now it's okay ครับ
Are you there? Kun Peter, can you hear me?
Pete, better. You sound better. Hello? Yeah. Nobody's
Kun Peter,
answering. Nobody's
can you hear
answering
me?
the phone number.
Okay, thanks, Betty.
Excuse me.
Yes, Peter.
Like the noise, like kokek.
Yeah. A lot of sound and voices have been echoing also.
Echoing and also a sound like a doorbell.
Right. Can you identify the source of that sound, Peter? Kun Peter, can you hear me?
I can hear you ครับ
Could you mute everyone, please? There's a button that you as host can mute all speakers. I see you've just muted. Mute everyone. That's better, I think. Possibly someone had left their microphone on unattended. Ajahn, would you like to try and proceed, please? Thank you.
Yes, can you hear me now?
I think that's better. It's still not as clear as usual, but it's better. So please go ahead, Ajahn. Thank you.
We just talk about just a moment, like now, and no one knows what would be the next moment. The next moment can be moment of death, unknown before or at that present moment. It does not experience the sense, the object through the six doorways. So it's just like the moment where one sleep. So no fear. It can happen anytime, even right now. No time to fear. So sudden as next moment just come as soon as this moment storm. That's all. When we think about it, it's not moment of death. But at moment of death, unexpected, no one knows that very moment. It's just like falling asleep. That's all. Nothing to be afraid of. Like now, no fear of seeing, no fear of hearing. So it's moment, which is not seeing, hearing, that's all. And at moment of fear, it's not the moment of death for sure. And it is a kusala. And then back, suddenly, who knows, born again. Is it better?
Yes, it's better, Ajahn. I think maybe someone hadn't turned off their mic. There was some background interference. It's better now.
Is the fear of this moment?
I think Nina has left the room because perhaps her helper came. I think that another point is that while there are accumulations for fear, there can be fear of many things. Fear of insects, fear of being alone, fear of being sick, fear of death, fear of one's family members' death. And like you mentioned to Lucas a couple of weeks ago when we're talking about doubt and confusion, it has to be understood when it's there because it's a reality. And if it's not understood when it appears, there can never be the letting go of the idea of self. So it's the same with fear. It's another dhamma, another reality, and it takes one object after another. Fear of this, fear of that. If it's not fear of death, it'll be fear of something else. So it has to be understood in order to let go of the idea of my fear, my disturbance. So common. But this topic is relevant to my brother's passing away a week ago. And so I've been talking to other family members, my other brothers, my nephews, and I think it helps a lot to encourage people to appreciate that it's just a natural moment of life and followed by new life, new family members, and everything that is forgotten here. So we don't need to be concerned about the other's death either, because it's just another moment like falling asleep. So not only is there no need to be afraid of our passing away, but also for the others. No pain, just another moment followed by another moment, new life. And so it's very helpful, and to appreciate that it's actually not anyone now, not anyone at the end of life, not anyone in the next life. just different moments that follow each other. Dhammata, naturally, by conditions. Nina, anything else you would like to add or comment on?
Not now.
If there's no thought about it, no fear of it, is that right? So it depends on right thinking about the truth. That nothing can be object of fear because it's so natural, the way it is, no one at all. The point is that understanding reality as it cannot be anyone at all. It is conditioned just to arise and be as it is, just only once in samsara. That's all. No important at all. It's gone, everything. Just arise, be there for a very short moment and then gone, never to return. No matter birth or death, seeing or hearing.
I just talked to my home care helper, and she said she has met many people who like euthanasia, and they are not afraid of death because they like it to have euthanasia. But who knows what comes next if one does that?
It doesn't matter at all about the other. What about what is there now that can be known? Otherwise, we keep on thinking about many, many subjects, many, many people, and many, many things, like usual. But what about now?
Well,
Is there
now, yeah.
Is there any?
We think of situations all the time.
That's why I think that when we talk about the truth of our reality, it is accumulated, developed to understand the moment when it's time to understand whatever is there. Uncontrollable, unpredictable. How much understanding will be. It comes from this moment, the understanding of the truth, gradually, little by little. But when it's the understanding of that object, it's different because it has been accumulated enough to be that very moment unexpectedly. That's why understanding what is there now without any expectation, how much it will be, and when will it be stronger or keener or sharper or clearer, or are conditioned from moment to moment.
I'm thinking of some of my friends who some time ago said she found it so difficult to lose her personality.
Can anyone help her not to think about that?
Yeah. So we cling to the idea of personality,
Mm-hmm.
but there is no personality that stays, only moments.
But what is there at that moment thinking about the other? What is the truth of that moment? It's just a moment of what? Of thinking. And thinking is conditioned to think about that, uncontrollable by conditions, memory and so on. By learn to understand the reality of what is that, whether it is anger or agitation or clinging or anything. It's just there only once, very short and then gone. But there are other conditioned reality again and again, on and on, non-stop. without any understanding. So when there is the understanding of what is there deeper, it can let go ignorance of what is there, like that which can experience, arises to experience, or that which is only happening right now. In truth, it's there only when it appears, and then no, only when it appears. And when right understanding is so sharp, even that moment, it's not as it appears, because that moment, just one moment of experience such object, it's not just like when it appears now, as it's so hard. That's why I learn to understand the truth, how short each moment is. And when it's there just one moment, it's different from now. Because now so many moments of a reality condition, like seeing, many moments of seeing, understanding the truth of it. Ignorance of seeing as what is that? The object with tears and people and things and my friends and my brother. But at that very moment, it's just a moment of experiencing. The object is different from moment to moment, but no one can change the characteristic of a reality which arises from birth, fall away, and arise again, on and on. The chief of experiencing what is there now from morning up to now, evening up to now, any moment up to now. And now it's there, and then gone, never to return. And the truth does not appear as it is. So learn to understand the nature of what is there in order to get closer to the truth, whether it's just as it appears or not, as my friend, as my people, my things, to understand just more, not only by words or in words, but the nature of that, the truth of it experience, and it is a reality, no shape in the form at all. We can know at moment we can see it, but it's not known as reality, but it's the unknown and feel unknown. And when it experiences an object unknown, because the object appears. So now the chief of experiencing an object does not appear and is not known enough to understand that it's there all the time. Never absent though. It's there. But the object which it experiences appear in life every moment, in the moment, depending on conditions. But the reality which arises and experiences is not known. It's there all the time, but it's not known. That's why learn to understand that which is the key of experiencing what is there. So the whole world, anything in the world, there's just one moment at a time, but it appears as so many things without any moment arising and falling away. So the truth is there must be a reality which is the key of experiencing, no matter the object of ears or the object of it, at the moment when it is there, doesn't appear. But no one can stop its arising. There are conditions for its arising and falling away instantly all the time. And in the day, no one thought about it. It's there now. No one think about it. And it's there see, and it's there hear, and it's there do not experience any object appearing, but it arises to experience an object. But since the object does not appear, the reality which experiences appear, but to ignorance, no understanding the truth. When the object of experiencing does not appear, that which experiences must be there, but it's not known. But when we talk about it, there can be the beginning of the truth of it, which just arises to experience, nothing in it as shape and form of rupa. And when it performs the function of directly experiencing what is there, it's the chief, because without it, nothing can appear, no world at all. And we use the term like chitta or vijnana or mano or manasa, many words depending on different conditions. So what is death? What is seeing? What is birth? And what is seeing? And what is sleeping? It's there. The chief of experiencing object. Without it, nothing is there at all. Does it sound better?
It's all right, Jan. It's not the best, but we can follow it. It's fine.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
And Nina, I don't think it's just the other, but now when there is clinging to the idea of self, of me, of someone, of the friend, of this personality or that personality, then no one wants to lose that thinking about that idea, because there's so much clinging to the idea of me and the other and personality. So it's only the development of understanding that now there are only citas, cetasikas and rupas, different realities that experience different realities that are experienced, that leads to the gradual letting go of that clinging to the idea of self or personality, someone here, someone there.
Yeah.
So it's not anything to be done, but just naturally by understanding, there's a little less clinging strongly to that idea, little by little. And
Yes.
it's just this.
I'm glad that Ajahn stressed so much now that Chitta is the chief of experiencing, because we forget that. We more think of the objects that are experienced, but we don't think of the chief of experiencing.
Think that it's I that am experiencing fear, or I am that have this problem with personality, but it's just moments of experiencing, moments of citta, experiencing the object, the visible object, the sound, the idea, the story, accompanied by different cetasikas. That's all, just for a moment, and then each one is gone. So without understanding citta, without understanding how it is the chief in experiencing, there cannot be any letting go of the idea of I that experiences, or this personality that experiences. So it's very important. And with the first comment you made about, with regard to Jyotika's comments last time, which you thought were good comments about the deep idea that's I that does good or I that does bad, it's because of not understanding citta as the chief in experiencing, and the cetasikas as just mental factors arising, the citta, and falling away instantly. That's why there is the idea of I. The realities are covered up by ignorance all the time.
And without understanding the characteristic of citta as a chief, can there be any understanding of citta as citta? Because it's there all the time, each moment. The object does not is there all the time, and cetasikas do not there all the time, but citta must be there. from birth to death, any moment of seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, thinking. But what about its characteristic? Without it, can anything appear or be like now? But no thought about it in a day. Even seeing sees. But what is that which sees? We use the term seeing. We just talk about the reality which experiences it, but it doesn't appear at all to be the chief of experiencing. That's why learn to understand the characteristic of a reality which is conditioned to arise to experience at birth and on and on and on, non-stop at all. Even death is just that which experiences an object and death. Not to be this personality to experience the situation from birth up to the moment of death. But it's a reality. And we just think about lopa, dosa, ignorance, and things around. But what about now? That's why it can be known when the object does not appear. Otherwise, the object appears to be known, to be thought about, to be attached to, and so on. But what about the reality which never lost, always presented by condition from moment to moment? No one can stop its function as no matter the object appears or not, it's there. The chief of experiencing an object. No matter the object is known, appear to one of the six doorways or not, but it's there. Otherwise, we just talk about that which is seen, that which is the attachment to this and that and so on. But the reality, Chittanupassana Satipatthana, is still unknown. I is there from birth. That's why when we talk about any reality, we don't just talk about the meaning of the word, but the characteristic of that which is there and its function. When it's anama, it is different. It's not the same characteristic like chitta, not cetasika, and it's cetasika. It's different, and they are there now. So learn to understand each reality a little more, to be conditioned to understand what is there in the future. When right understanding develops enough to understand that which appears at that level, deeper and deeper. So it's now the moment of understanding will be conditioned, accumulated to understand what is there when time comes. And even right now, if there's no previous accumulation of understanding, it's impossible to understand what is meant by that which arises and experiences the object. Even the object does not appear, but it's there because it's the chief. Without it, nothing can arise at all. No world, nothing, no one. So whenever what is there, there must be that reality, which is the chief of experiencing that object. And what is the meaning of the chief? Without it, nothing can be, nothing can arise to appear as is there now. Many things around. So that's why there is the question. What is there for seeing? What is there before hearing? What moment is there before thinking? A moment of citta, experiencing an object unknown. So it's not moment of seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, and thinking. That's why the moment of birth, And the moment it does not experience any object through different doorways, another moment of birth, it's there. Even right now. It's not noticed, no one thinks about it, but it's there. The chief of the world of experiencing anytime when it's there, while the other might be conditioned for everything, like loka is not always there, anger is not always there, but the chief of experience is there. Even there are Jetasikas, like 7 Jetasikas arising with it, but they cannot be chief of experiencing an object because they have to arise with the chief of experiencing the object, and it performs its function, not the one who experiences the object clearly, which conditions more and more happenings. Because of that which experiences the object so clear. Just to think about the truth of this moment. What is there which is not known before? So it's the I, no matter seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, thinking, liking, and so on. And it's there in daily life. So when the realities in daily life do not appear to understanding, nothing can be let go of ignorance and attachment. So it's time to begin to understand a little clearer of all kinds of dhamma. Chitta is chitta. No matter it's the birth moment, death moment, it's chitta.
Jyotika, do you have any comments or questions following this discussion so far?
No, I just understand that there is no I to die. There's no I dying. Though the qualities are dying or whatever. No, the qualities are changing or...
So the chitta arises and falls away at each moment. So at a moment of dying, it's just like any other moment. A chitta arises and falls away. It's accompanied by the different mental factors, but the reality that always arises and falls away, and which is the chief in experiencing at that moment, just like at this moment or any other moment, is the chitta. So no one that dies, as you say, and no one that does good deeds, no one that is here or there, just different chittas arising and falling away, accompanied by different cetasikas at different moments.
But is the knowing when we die then, or is it just falling asleep? It's easy, I think, when it is only falling asleep.
I think one reason we say it's like falling asleep is the death consciousness that there may be fear about. The chuti chitta is exactly the same as a bhavanga chitta, the same kind of chitta, experiencing the same object accompanied by the same mental factors. So in deep sleep, there is one bhavanga chitta after another. No one has any fear of falling asleep or of bhavanga chittas arising, or even now, in between the sense and mind or processes, there are bhavanga chittas. So the death consciousness is just another chitta of the same kind, exactly the same kind, with the same object as a bhavanga chitta, unknown object. And it arises and it falls away, and then it's followed by the patisandhi chitta, which is also the same kind of chitta, but the new Patisandhi citta is a result of different karma. So it's the same kind of citta, but it's the result of different karma. And all the Bhavanga cittas in the next life are the same kind as that Patisandhi citta, the same object. So it's just one citta after another. So it's like falling asleep because it's like a Bhavanga citta.
It's very helpful to think that it is just falling asleep, because it's not so difficult.
Not so difficult. We make it very difficult and very complicated because of the idea of I or someone, and because there is thinking about this story of a big event or a big situation. But actually, it's just like now, just a moment of falling asleep and another moment of birth, new life, but still just another citta, one after the other.
Yeah.
And at that moment of Bhavanga citta or death consciousness, no pain. The Bhavanga cittas and the death consciousness in this life are a result of kusala karma. So it's just another moment that is a result of kusala karma at the end of this life. And then gone. And actually, it's just like now, just one citta after another. No one here, no one that's doing good, no one that's doing bad, no one that is seeing, no one that's hearing, just one citta after another.
Yeah.
It's simple, but because of the ignorance and attachment, it seems so complicated. And the subtlety of the simple citta rising and falling away isn't understood.
But this way of thinking is so different from what happens all around. And then I come with Nina, because Nina is also asking about this euthanasia. It's like at the moment it's here like a question: how do you want to die, with euthanasia or with different? And so the day-to-day reality is so different from this reality. What is the reality, I think?
And the idea that I have a choice, that I will have this kind of death or that kind of death, or eternity or this or that.
Yeah.
It's all strong clinging to the idea of self. Actually, there's no choice. Each citta now rises by its conditions very naturally. Tamatha, again, seeing has to arise now when it's conditioned by the visible object that impinges on the eye sense as a result of karma. No one chooses for it to arise. No one decides what it will see. And it's the same at the moment of death. No one chooses what is experienced. No one chooses what the next moment will be. But the idea of eternity, it's all revolves around the idea of something lasting and the idea of I and what will happen to me, not the understanding of reality now. So that's why, as Ajahn said, well, never mind what the others think. What about the thinking now? Is there any understanding of the thinking now? If there's thinking about eternity, or thinking about fear of death, or thinking about what the others think, what about the citta at this moment of thinking? Is there any understanding now? Because it's real, it can be known. But the story can never be known because it's just different set of ideas. But the thinking now can be understood. The fear now can be understood when it appears. Seeing can be understood. So it's only the understanding of what appears now that solves all these dilemmas by understanding what the truth is at this moment.
Yeah.
Yes, it is, after all, quite natural to be afraid of death. Maybe there's an expectation on ourselves that there shouldn't be such fear, since we're supposed to have a good understanding of realities and so forth. But if that's the accumulated tendency, then that's the way it is. So it's just another kind of consciousness, as Ajahn has said. Any consciousness, any citta, can be the object of understanding. And cittas are to be known as they are. It's just the citta, the chiefing, that is chief in experiencing. Of course, the fear can also be known. And that is not the citta, that is the mental factor that accompanies the citta.
Yeah.
What about now, Jyotika? Any fear now?
No, I do not feel the fear at the moment.
So
It was thinking about, it is much different to think about it as it is just a question of falling asleep. When you are calm, you can fall asleep. And someone who is trying to convince me that it is better to take euthanasia, and then you have a few minutes that you can be calm, and people die so calm with the euthanasia. So they can die so calm. And but then I thought, this is wrong thinking. This is wrong something. You know?
Yeah, because
trying to
the
justify
appearance,
this whole thing.
the
sorry.
appearance of calmness does not mean kusala, citta, of course. So it's like any other conventional idea of calmness.
Because the euthanasia is still a thing of killing.
What is the motivation for
What is
wishing?
the motivation?
Yes, for wishing to die by euthanasia rather than naturally.
There was a big paper piece last week that it was on because you are not a burden for other people as motivation. It seems also something like not clear, but
Well, I suppose there may be a difference between the declared motivation and the real motivation anyway.
declared motivation. What is declared motivation?
Yes, the motivation that the person states and the actual motivation may not be the same. But anyway,
I do not understand what you mean by states motivation. The states
Verschil tussen, sorry.
Thanks, Carmen.
Het verschil tussen datgene wat ze zeggen en datgene wat de eigenlijke reden is.
Like,
Okay.
what about the clinging? What about the attachment, wishing to end, wishing to finish this life? The clinging is there, even if we say, oh, it's for the other's benefit, but actually it's clinging to not experiencing anymore. And what about the opportunity to understand a little more, to help others a little more in this life while there is the time? Like now, when you ask helpful questions, or there is the considering more about the truth. These are precious moments to understand a little more while there is the opportunity.
I have to come back later, I think.
And what about sati that we were discussing last time? We were talking about conventional ideas of awareness, like when one is careful with what one does in one's daily life, how one carries the tray of glasses, and how one walks across the road. But what about at moments of kusala, moments of kindness, moments of understanding? It's at these moments that sati arises, guarding from unwholesomeness, guarding from clinging, guarding from ignorance at those moments. So now is the opportunity for sati, sati with understanding.
Yeah, there's more understanding about sati. When you see also the unwholesome things, that can be wholesome.
It can be wholesome to understand the akusala, such as the clinging, for what it is. And even if one is in a wheelchair and totally dependent on the assistance of others, they're still seeing, they're still hearing, they're still thinking. There can be sati at any moment.
Yes.
And this is more precious. The sati with the understanding is more precious than conventional ideas about being a burden or needing help with feeding or needing assistance in the house. There can be sati and understanding any time at all, no matter what the circumstances, if the understanding has been developing. It has to understand what is sati and when sati arises. Nothing to do with the conventional ideas of sati.
Ja, oké. Is goed. It's good for a moment.
Alan, you were away. Any topics you'd like to bring up today?
Morning, Sarah. I know, I just remember a long time ago, I think Ajahn said that for the Sotapanna, the enlightened person, there are no people, just wholesomeness and unwholesomeness arising and falling away. So maybe a little bit more explaining about what is meant by that. For the enlightened being, no person, no people, just wholesomeness and unwholesomeness arising and falling away. Maybe I didn't hear correctly, but that was from memory.
I think the point is that for the Sotapanna, no wrong view, no wrong idea that there is a someone who dies, a someone who lives, a someone who does good deeds, someone who does bad deeds. There are just different citas arising and falling away, seeing, hearing, kusala citas, akusala citas. So no matter whether we are talking about people as we use it conventionally or personalities as we talk about it conventionally, there is no doubt, no confusion, because there is the understanding that in truth there are just chittas, cetasikas, and rupas arising and falling away.
Yes, yes. I can
More
see
and
that.
more understanding, more and more confidence until that wrong idea of self is eradicated. But perhaps Jan would like to add more to your point.
Shall we begin again with what is there now?
A reality of some kind, yeah, which is just a reality.
Is it enough just to think about it's a reality of some kind? But what is some kind?
What is experienced through 5 doorways, or what experiences through 5 doorways and other realities of the mind door, and also, yeah, chitta, cetasika, mental factors.
Yeah.
So
That in
different realities, different elements which are not people and things.
And is there enough understanding of what is there through different doorways?
No. Intellectually is higher than the reality of what is understood by direct experience, yeah, for sure. So no, there's not enough understanding of these realities by direct experience.
Without, yes.
Yes, so when it's not when realities are not understood, they're joined together to be something or somebody.
So
But intellectually, I understand that actually what is touched is just hardness. It's not a person. It's not a thing. And there is no person who touches. It's just another reality, a reality which experiences. But that isn't directly experienced. So understanding intellectually is way ahead, if you like, of what is experienced.
So now it's time just to talk about what are there, or just learning to understand the characteristic of a reality which is there.
Yes.
So what is there can be talked about in order to have closer, a little closer to the truth of it to be understood as it is. Just one at a time, right?
Yes.
To understand a little more of the truth, not just all together at once, but if there is no more understanding of just one reality, there can never be the understanding or of anyone at all. That's why can we talk just about one reality to understand better, to get closer to the truth, to realize the truth, not just have the word for it.
Yes.
So what shall we talk about? That's one reality now.
Heat, it is now, it is experienced now.
Yeah. So there must be a reality which experience heat unknown, right? Unthought about. Everything.
Yes. Yes. So it's always it's I who am experiencing heat, because that reality is not known.
But we know that it's different from our mental reality, right?
Heat is different from other realities, yes.
And the reality which experiences it is different from other mental reality, right? Or are they the same?
It must be different. Different reality experiences heat to a reality which experiences smell or what is seen. Different.
And how can anyone be known closer, a little more clear, stage by stage?
I suppose by becoming familiar with realities, then there will be the understanding that there is no choice over to what reality is experienced. So whether it's heat or sound or smell, that is beyond anybody's choice or expectation. So that is getting closer to understanding that the reality which experiences is conditioned to arise. So by becoming familiar with different realities, then I think that we get closer to understanding the nature of the reality which experiences those different objects, because it is just no choice involved at all. It just arises, experiences an object, and then gone, and then there's a different experience, but it's not precise, but there is a turning towards that understanding.
So now you are talking about one reality, right?
Yes,
Which arises and experiences an object. Is that right?
yes.
Okay. There are so many realities arise and experience the object, but they are different, right?
Yes.
And now, at moment of seeing what is known, now there is seeing what is known.
Yes, there's seeing, yes. It's not known precisely, but there is the understanding that there is seeing.
It seems like we talk about it as we know it, like seeing, but in truth, what is seeing?
Yes, we don't know seeing, the moment which experiences, and what is seen that is not known as it is, because it's always something. It's a book or a flower or a table, but there is seeing. We know that there is seeing.
And when it's hearing, what is there?
Sound.
And
The reality which experiences sound, but it doesn't show up, but there is the experiencing of sound.
it doesn't show up. Can there be the understanding of it as not me or anyone at all?
No, it can only be, it has to show up before to begin to understand it.
So now it does not show up because it's only the intellect understanding about it. Is that right?
That's right, yes.
So if there's no more attention or careful thinking about it, can it be gradually little by little be known?
No, it has to start with the intellectual understanding. It's too tricky to figure out for oneself, but there has to be a lot of consideration.
So when we talk about life, what is there in life? Always there. Never absent.
Yes, Chitta is always there.
What is there?
Sorry?
From birth, what is there?
Yeah, the reality which experiences is from birth, always there.
Even it arises and experiences the object. Can the object be known at that very moment?
Not always. When one is fast asleep, when one doesn't know what the object is, but there must be Chitta there.
But it's there. Even the object is not known. So it's not known, but it's there. Is that right?
Yes, that's right, yes.
So what moment is like that moment, but it's not the first moment in life? So what moment in life after that can be known, that it's there, but the object does not appear?
The moment before seeing, the moment, yeah, the sensed or adverting consciousness, and in between seeing and hearing, the moment is not known. The object is not known, but the citta must be there.
So there are moments of experiencing the object which is known, and the moment when it experiences the object which is not known, right?
Yes.
If there is no moment of experiencing the object which is known, can there be the understanding of that which is there, but experience the object which is unknown?
No, because I suppose that's how that is, that we can come to know the experiencing without an object, because there is a gap in between seeing and hearing. So I suppose that's how that can be known, that the reality which experiences without an object is different from seeing and hearing and touching and tasting, because they have objects. So there's the gap in between. That's how I understand it.
The reality tries to experience the object, can to experience the object, no matter the object is known or unknown.
Yes.
That's why learn to understand the nature of the reality which arises and experiences an object which is not known before at all. If there is no thinking about the difference between moment of seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, and thinking, and moment that even the object is not known, like it's there, a reality which arises, experience the object, but the object is unknown. Begin to understand the precise, the exact, and the truth of that experience. So there can be the understanding of that reality at the moment of seeing. Otherwise, like now, they see
Yes.
reality.
Sorry, Ajahn, we are losing your voice again from time to time. Perhaps you could speak more directly into the microphone. See what happens. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So now, moment of seeing, that is the object which is known, but the seeing is not known, right?
Yes, the seeing itself is not known.
So without considering the moment when the object is not known and the object is known, there can never be the understanding of the reality which arises, no matter the object is known or not, is there. Experience an object. Otherwise, what is studied, what is being aware of, is only the object which is known by that which experiences it. But the reality which experiencing the object is still not known, right?
That's correct, yes.
That's why at moment of experiencing an object like seeing sees, visible object now, how can there be the understanding of that which arises and sees visible object? Only when there is the understanding of there must be, or there is a moment of a reality that arises and experiences the object, but the object is not known. But it's there. The reality appears, not the object. The reality which experiences the object appear, not with the object that it experiences.
So that reality which experiences, which doesn't have an object, can be the object of awareness and understanding.
Yeah, without the understanding that pure reality which arises and experiences the object, no matter what the object is, known or unknown, it has to be there right now. Before seeing, it's there, right? Before hearing,
Right.
but
Yes.
no at all. But understand the nature of that which experiences the object little by little until it's the object of understanding little by little, to be acquainted, to be familiar with it until less doubt about the reality which now experience the object. So it can be the object's understanding. At moment of the object is not known. The object of its moment of experiencing is not known. Right?
Right.
When the object is known, the reality which experiences is not known. But when the object is unknown, the reality which is there can be known.
Right. Okay. But it would seem that seems more difficult to understand than to understand seeing, because seeing has an object and therefore is very apparent. Or is it not more difficult to understand the reality which has no object, which experiences without an object? Because
every citta has an object, it's just that the object doesn't appear. So there's
Yes.
always an object, but so if, for example, we talk about the bhavanga citta, the object never appears, but the citta, the reality which experiences, can be understood. So there's always an object, but it doesn't always appear, that's all.
It doesn't always appear. But it would seem to me that we have an understanding that there's seeing and hearing and touching and tasting, but to understand the reality in between those, which has no object, is not.
Which has an object, but the
It
object
has an
doesn't
object,
appear.
sorry, yes, it has an object, but the object isn't known. Yes, okay, yes, every citta must have an object, but the object isn't known. So that seems very, very difficult to me. I mean, it just seems more difficult than understanding seeing and hearing.
So how long will it take to be acquainted to that reality as it is?
I don't know. Who knows? It's unexpected, unpredictable.
Even Buddha said all dhammas are so subtle.
Yes.
Bhavanga, no doubt about it. See, everyone knows the meaning of it. But when it's there, without any word, it's the nature of that, which experiences an object, but the object is not known.
Yes, I see that.
But when it's there, it's not known, as that is the reality, which is the chief of experiencing an object. No matter the object is known or not, without it, there is no world, no life at all.
Okay, so is that just as likely to be understood as seeing and hearing, the bhavanga citta? Is it? It seems more difficult to me, but that's intellectually, because would seem a very difficult thing to understand by direct experience. The reality in between seeing and hearing.
Mm-hmm. But not just you, not only you, everyone, years and years ago.
Yes.
What about ignorance, after seeing, hearing, smelling, on and on, accumulated, and just hearing about the truth of that which is there? It arises and experiences, even the object is not known, but that is moment of the reality which appears as that is there, experiencing, otherwise not right. That's why to learn about bhavanga is not difficult to be remembered, but when it's there, how can it be known? The nature of the reality, which is the chief of experiencing, even the object is not known, but it's there. The characteristic which are experienced an object is there, but it's not known because ignorance cannot know that it's a reality. Even
yes.
And if the object appears, it does not appear, right?
Yes. It doesn't appear for that the bhavanga citta, the object doesn't appear at all.
Even And if we don't use the term bhavanga, it's there to understand the characteristic which arises and experience. It doesn't mean that nothing is there. It's there before seeing. It's there, a reality, but it's not known as it is because ignorance cannot understand whatever is there at all. But to understand not the word bhavanga, but the nature of the moment of bhavanga. It's before seeing, hearing, and it's the pure citta appearing, depending on whether it appears to ignorance or to understanding, even intellectually, how to be acquainted with that reality which is there all the time, from moment to moment. Even right now, at the moment of seeing, there is the moment of thinking about seeing that it sees, but what is it? It sees is a reality which experiences an object, but at that moment only object appears, but that which experienced do not appear. That's why in order to get closer to understand the nature which appears as is so true, it's real, but it's not known as it is. Only when it's there, different from moment of seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching. It's known. It's there. And so at moment of seeing, there can be a moment of beginning to think about the truth, that there must be that which does not have any shape or form or any object appearing, only that which experiences is there. So it's different from the object which is experienced, no matter moment of seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching. Otherwise, it's just the word about patisanti citta, bhavanga citta, citta citta, and so on. But in order to understand the truth, what is there in life? There's no one, only different realities conditioned to arise, to be different by way of citta, the chief of experiencing, and citta experience the object as it arises, different characteristics, different function, and rupa does not experience anything at all. Not only the word, but there must be two stages of understanding it, intellectual understanding of the Four Noble Truths, the path leading to understand the truth, hearing, considering about the Four Noble Truths. The second round, to understand directly the truth. But if there is no understanding of the way to understand directly, it's impossible to get closer to understand that which experience an object, no matter the object appears or not. Otherwise, there cannot be dhamma, rupa, pariccheda jnana. What is there now appears so well, so clear to be vipassana jnana, but it's just the moment when the object does not appear. The object of its experiencing at that very moment does not appear. Now it's there, but it does not appear so clear. So we learn to understand what is there in life as pariyatti, intellectual understanding, to understand the truth of it enough to condition moment of beginning to understand what is there at moment of seeing, which is not visible object. What is there at moment of hearing, which is not sound.
So the moment of seeing, when it's understood, it's just the object isn't there, because if the object is seeing, when it's nama rupa pariccheda jnana, the object is seeing, so there's no object that is seen. Well, that object doesn't appear, just the same as the bhavanga citta. It's just pure citta, no shape or form, no color, just the reality which experiences. and that will be the same as the Bhavanga Chitta, which is just a reality which experiences. Is that right?
Vipassana Jnana is the moment of experiencing, no word, but experiencing what is there with understanding of the truth. So clear, no doubt about what is meant by the reality, which has no shape and form, no color, no smell, no taste, but it's there arising and experiencing an object. See, if the object appears, it's not that which experiences. Right now, right understanding is not sharp enough, but it learned to understand in words what is there now, the reality which experiences an object at moment of seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, and is there from birth, the reality which experiences an object. Only that, only once in life, and the other moment conditioned by the same dhamma. But it is exactly the same, but it performs different functions because it cannot be the beginning of life as the Patisanthikitta, the first moment of life. But it's there, keep on arising and falling away. As long as karma condition is arising until the end, there's the moment of experiencing an object as its personality inside. So this is the way to understand what is that in words about it, but it's not just the word, it's the truth of even the very subtle reality which does not appear now as the reality which experiences an object. Without understanding, no one can experience it. Only understanding can begin to understand the nature of that reality, which is different from others. Any moment in life, it's there. While the other reality is not there in life all the time, but this one is there all the time, arising and falling away. Different function. And when we talk about function, we have to think of the nature, the real nature of it, that which arises to experience an object. Keep on the truth of it. It arises to experience the object. And then it go on. At what moment the object appears, and the other moment, even it's there, arising, experiencing an object, but the object does not appear, and the other moment the object appears. Different ones, different functions, but no one can change its characteristic that it is the reality which is the chief of experiencing the object, only the chief of experiencing the object, not more than that. But without it, nothing can appear at all. So learn a little more of the truth of what we have heard in order to become acquainted to the characteristic to be known little by little, even at moment of touching. Begin to understand the reality which touches, which experience that which is touched. It's there. It can be known. Otherwise, it's I, me. It cannot let go the idea of self because it experiences the object and no one is there at all. So that is I feel, I experiences the object. But even the moment of seeing, there's no understanding that it is that which experiences an object. It's I see, I hear, I think, I like all the time. That's why there are three different stages of understanding the truth. Pariyati, Patipatti, and Pativeda. The same characteristic, the same truth, clearly, step by step. And there must be conditions for any moment of understanding. Begin again. Why again? Because it added up just a little moment of understanding. different from the moment before. And this is this moment or any moment in life. So now or any time, there must be that which experiences after that cannot be known or appear at all, no matter what, sound, smell, taste.
And I think the point is, Alan, that it seems the seeing seems more apparent, more obvious, but usually it's still the idea of someone seeing or the seeing which lasts, but only by understanding that there is always the reality, which is the chief of experiencing, the citta, at each moment in life, before the seeing, afterwards arising and falling away in rapid succession, that there can begin to be a little less clinging to the idea of someone experiencing something lasting, not the reality that chief in experiences, that experiences object, no matter whether it's at death or in sleep or at moments of seeing or hearing, and then falls away instantly at each moment in life, one after the other.
And I'll just quickly add that when you say we know there's seeing, that's actually a deduction. We don't know the moment of seeing directly by its characteristic. It's known because things appear, visible things appear, and therefore we can deduce that there must be seeing, and the same for hearing.
Yeah.
Many points to consider. Thank you, Ajahn. Sawadika, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Ajahn.
Thank you, Ajahn.
Nice to see you, Shanti.